Yes, there was a report that the pilots had contact air traffic control and they had reported electrical problems. The aircraft then went into a holding pattern at about 20,000 feet and did approximately 3 orbits in a holding pattern with a very slow descent. And then there was a very rapid descent from 20,000 down to about 15,000 feet before the plane impacted into the mountains. There's also a very rapid drop in speed as well. So it would seem as though there may have been a possibility of engine failure. And also there was a report that the plane had run out of fuel. So there are still conflicting information, of course, and we do know there was no fire when the plane impacted the ground, which may be one of the reasons why there are survivors from this terrible tragedy. But other than those few scant details at this stage, there's nothing much more that we do know or can pin down on why this tragedy has occurred.
And Jeffrey, I wonder if you could explain something to us and to our viewers throughout the world. This reluctance to call this a crash, to go rather with the terminology of a plane accident. What does that mean?
Look, I think that might possibly be a local cultural thing. This was a crash, and there's no question about that, and a very severe crash from the first pictures that we are seeing. This plane has been torn to pieces, and it is simply a crash. This flight was on this aircraft was on a flight from Santa Cruz to this airport in Colombia. It actually originated in Sao Paulo and stopped at Santa Cruz.
But it was interesting when you mentioned the possibility of there not being sufficient fuel. How would that happen?
Well, this electrical failure that we may have related to look, it may be a number of things. The report of the running out of fuel did come from a source at the crash, in the crash area. The fact that there was no explosion when the plane impacted the mountains indicates that may possibly be true, that it had run out of fuel. Why it ran out of fuel, very hard to say. It shouldn't have, but there may have been an error in loading the fuel onto the aircraft. You know, that has happened before. So there is a possibility that may be the case, and certainly the fact that there was a lack of any explosion or fire would sort of reinforce that possibility.